all of which proves that the roller coaster is...
What's popular, YouTube? Another day, another demo. And today we have, that's right, drum roll, please. The number 10 player, top 10 of Laos 2022. The list that mirrors HLTV's but doesn't try to copy it. It's just it's a complimentary list. It's my list. It's somewhat stats-based, but it's mostly based off of what I've watched, who I feel like is better. And results are honestly taking much more of a backseat, I think, than it will on HLTV's list. I'm just talking about who I think as the best player. Like, who I think it is. You know, me. And who I can't lie about. You know, I'm trying to release the information that's in here. I'm not trying to think about what other people are thinking about, what I'm thinking about. It's what I watched and what I believe in, from what I know in CS, all the demos I watched, all the games I casted, you know what I mean? So here's a guy who is the best player in his region. Whew, I've been saying that a lot on this list. Here is a guy who doesn't opt. This man is somebody who has a player on his team that plays just like him. He is somebody who I feel like is the best player of the region and he's the new blood of a region that I feel like if you transported him back in time would be top in a previous era of this region as well. Sorry, that was a little convoluted. I'm reaching a little bit. He's got nice skins. This guy performed on the home stage in front of the home crowd and took down his biggest rival and his favorite player, okay? That's right, you guessed it. It's Caserado, baby. Caserado is my number 10 player of 2022, and I wouldn't be surprised if on the list he was even higher, and I feel weird as the number 1 Furia fan on Earth to not even myself overrate him. I don't know where you guys have him. He had an extraordinary year. Obviously, recency is big on people's minds when it comes to Rio with his performance there. But then you zoom out a little bit and you see there was never a dull period. Lots of great big events for Caserado. The best player on Furia, doing it with just a rifle. The best player in Brazil. The best player, one of the most in terms of his detail orientation. One of the players who makes the least positional errors. One of the most aware riflers. One of the best sprays that in the pro scene. Somebody who plays incredibly well around smokes. And somebody who I think, basically, if you plugged him into any team in the top 20, he would improve them. That's the kind of player I think Caserado is. Amazingly good and proved it stats-wise, big moments, and had a couple of huge wins here. So really can't give Caserado enough praise for what he's accomplished. And I think we're watching his best year. I don't think it's going to be his best year ever. And I think that's a scary thought, that this isn't his potential peak. So we were watching a CT side Mirage demo for Caserado versus Spirit in a game where I thought it was over. Spirit won 11-4 in the first half in round 2 of the Legend stage, and Furia were my 3-0 pick, and I thought after the first half, it's over. Spirit are decimating them. They were outdoing them at every corner, and then Caserado came through, put his paws on every single round, and was able to pull back a CT side with a +2 rating and just make it look easy, honestly, versus Spirit. So let's watch the magic happen. Number 10 of 2022. If you missed it, you missed Spirit absolutely piecing up Furia in the 1-0 stage of the Legends stage, okay? This game, after the CT side, the Siren frags, just everybody's moves. Like, it felt like there was no chance for Furia to get back into this game. And then what do we have? Caserado from the depths. 20-6 with a +2 rating here on CT side on this comeback. Caserado showing off how good he's been CT sides this year. I've watched like a streak of T sides and a streak of CT sides, and not a lot of Mirage, of any Mirage. So I was like, okay, let's watch Mirage. And Caserado and Furia on Mirage, well, they love Mirage. This is gonna be perfect. So why don't we watch it? Half the time, Caserado's gonna start window and he's gonna molly top boxes and go ahead with mid control. Other half of the time, he's gonna go cat. Hey, guys, when you go cat, make sure to walk here, okay? So you can hear the footsteps. Counter-Strike's about details, right? So you walk right at this moment so that you can't be heard. If there's any kind of fast movement here, you'll hear it from here. Okay, so that's why Caserado will always walk up against the wall if he's not rushing off cat for some whatever reason. And then this will dictate if he's going to set up throw grenades and things like that. Small detail about playing cat. I don't know if I've pointed that out. A lot of things I don't know if I've pointed out that are like implicit that people should know but don't know. But I'm sure most people know that by now. But if you haven't, well, you don't have to admit it. You can just go ahead and learn. I mean, Counter-Strike is so many details. Caserado, that at this major, did something extraordinary. I mean, Stown literally in the interview after he played, Heroic beat them, right? They beat them and went on to get grand finals of the major, but he just said straight up, Caserado is fucking insane, I think was the quote. And as a rifler, I think for a long time I was kind of like, let me hype up Yuri a little bit. Yuri's actually pretty crazy. Everyone's talking about Caserado, best rifler in Brazil. I think it's Yuri actually, but this year I think that has changed a little bit. Well, not to say that Yuri is worse in any meaningful sense. They're both unreal. Let's be clear about that. Both these guys, Urado, as they're colloquially known, are a combo that mirror each other. It feels like stylistically, and honestly, just in terms of sheer numbers too, Yuri puts them up, but Caserado peeled away at the Rio Major. I did interviews with all of them. Okay, hold on. Is this actually possible? Let me see. Around the smoke. Okay, very possible now. And open through the smoke forward. Through the smoke forward, and Caserado gives himself a chance to take this down. Patsy cannot tell for sure if he has an easy route around it. But you see how Caserado throws that smoke? It's all about the details with this man. If there's one thing to highlight and what we're going to watch in this demo, it's the details. It's the small movements, okay? You watch Caserado. He moves slowly and with conviction and insane spray. I think that's just on its face. Need to talk about his spray is so consistent. But it's the details right there. That smoke doesn't land directly on the bomb. It lands a little bit forward, allows him to take his first fight without being in a smoke and having to come out, and allows him to get around the smoke to fight towards connector, and removes an extra point of reference, and makes it hard to see for sure if you can hear anything. See? Here it is. You can hear the footsteps. Now, it could be underpass play and stuff like that. So that's something to consider. Cat these days is the what's this phrase? The cat's pajamas. It's the place where you put your #1 guy. Used to be connector, and it's still kind of, you still put your first or second best rifle or other connector cat. I don't think you need to get obsessed with who's actually just better. You just pick who likes to spot more. But your two best riflers go in connector and cat on Mirage. And we'll see how much Caserado actually ends up pushing off of cat. Furia do a really cool smoke off cat that has become pretty meta, where it lands in front of the signpost. Okay, this nice disengage. Little off angle. Let's see how it works. Lets Art take the next fight after the ding comes in, but he's still got HP. Beautiful, right to the head. No chance to shoot back. And seriously, go back and watch this first half of this demo, and you see that it was Furia who had no chance to shoot back. It was the most lopsided 11-4 scoreline I've ever seen. It felt like a 14-1. It felt like there was zero chance that Furia would get back in this game. They would go 1-1, completely mess up my pick'ems. Well, still got gold anyway, but getting Furia as a 3-0 pick was largely due to Caserado's performance throughout Legends. Caserado was the second highest rated player at the Rio Major. The 1.33 rating, following closely behind Shiro. Monstrous stuff. Okay. In front of the home crowd. And when I interviewed them, I interviewed a few of them, and I just asked them kind of the same question about the pressure. Do you guys feel the pressure? It's hard to get an honest response in these situations because on the one hand, I think you're spending the last few weeks, if you're Furia, the premier team to come out of Brazil, the one that has the most pressure possible, and the team that regularly chokes in playoffs and top 8s at much smaller events, even though they play well enough to win really big games. You're asking these players, are you feeling pressure? Of course they're feeling pressure. When I asked them, they all said no. But I will say that when I asked Caserado and he said no, I actually believed him. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's his affect. Maybe he's just a great liar. But when he said that he was just here to play well, I saw this slight smile in his face that made me feel like he was more excited than nervous, and that really did inspire confidence in me, I won't lie. And with him, it's all about the details. The little smile, you know? So here's that top mid molly. Important to deny top boxes early round for the T's coming out on Mirage. As we can see, provides a safe escape route for for I think Art or whoever that is, jumping out a window. And Queserado's job again is it's about mid in the sense of playing on cat and helping out with the B site, but also eyes focused forward, helping with pressure. And denying connector with the smoke is also really important. You almost can't keep Con smoked enough. Okay, connector is probably the single most important piece of map control for the T side. Advanced map control, you know, like mid in general is the most important in terms of map control, as it is on most maps. But connector is like the most contested in the current meta, very popular. And the reason that now you have cat be the place where like a lot of your riflers get kills, but that just kind of goes back and forth over time. I don't think there's going to be a spot that ends up being the one spot. I think it will be people like putting pressure here more these days. People like putting pressure here more these days. And for a while, it was all about cat. I think 2021 was definitely more about cat. 2022, I think actually connector might be coming back a little bit in terms of how popular it is. How much? Wait, hold on. Can Queserado win this? He just won that beautiful 1v2. Oh, there's a chance. Oh, okay, there was a chance right there. If he had no chopper was just out in the open, he would have just jumped up the boxes. And honestly, based on the game that he had in this match, probably would have won it. So there's a round lost. They need Queserado. They need him, and he goes down. Spirit, do they win this round? Yeah, they do. 8-13, man. It's dire times. Dire times. And on a 5-7. I'm going to be honest with you. I saw the scoreline. I saw some of the rounds. I was watching in kind of viewing party area, or I was watching, I don't know how we were watching, but I was watching with like a bunch of friends. Didn't sit down and watch this game very closely and didn't get to see Queserado's perspective. So actually extremely excited to see how this really played out. Just kind of one of those games where you look over the TV, you know, Alex and Chad, oh my God, Queserado. And you're like, whoa, what happened? Wow, 2K, Queserado's the best. And not exactly knowing for sure why. But here we're going to find out. Some of you watching probably like, yeah, I know why. I know why, Launders. I don't even need to watch this demo. Fine. Keep it to yourself. Watch the demo with me again. I didn't ask. Queserado, one of the most highest levels of concentration in CSGO, okay? I don't say that. I don't throw that title around lightly. I think Rops is #1. Queserado's top 3. In terms of when I watch this guy be patient on angles, I see somebody who just, I don't know who has more trust in an angle than Queserado besides like Rops. And Yuri's up there too. I mean, you're auto. One in the same, really. So beautiful right there on the patience. That's something we're paying attention to. Great spray, great patience, and all about the details. These are the 3 things that define Queserado. And the little ways that he somehow manages to have outstanding performances consistently. Not just consistent performances that are good, outstanding consistently. Top player, man. Top player. Best year so far. And to take down Navi in the quarterfinal, to have a deep run at Rio, to live up to the expectations of the home crowd. Man, in some ways, he really saved this major in a big way, right? This is a big deal for Brazil. Queserado, big deal in Brazil. Furia, this team is owned by Neymar. It's a team with a lot of popularity. They're still trying to keep up with, you know, like Imperial and Fallen's brand alone probably outshines Furia as a whole. But in terms of who they could expect to like go the farthest for the country, you know, Furia, hopefully they won some fans. They definitely deserve them. For a while, they always seemed like the cool but really underrated team coming out of Brazil. I feel like they actually had more North American fans and fans like me than Brazilian fans. But I think that's starting to change. It's sort of like the heroic to Astralis in some sense, but they're not looked at as much as villains as heroic were. But it is cool. I think they found a great successor for both. Still, the accomplishments of Astralis, the accomplishments of SK Luminosity, there are giants that are standing before them in years past that they have to stand up to. And just getting a deep run at a major is not quite enough to bring us there. Now, I would say, for me, made this argument many times, HLTV confirmed, talking counter, my own videos and stuff. Yuri and Queserado, I think one of these two will end up top 5 within the next whatever while they're still in their career and playing. Now, a lot of that does rest on how well Furia do and how good they get, and that also comes with me believing in the team. Of course, you guys know this is my favorite team, and still very much a dark horse and very much hard. You can't believe that they're going to close tournaments as deep runs as they can get. They still have some problems that they're working through. They have the tools, and I think that's what makes them really exciting for me. I believe they can close a tournament one day. I believe they can get the tournament win. I was there in Rio when they lost to Jame last time at DreamHack in 2018. Oh, what a find. I mean, barely any time between the first and second smoke. You can't even blame Chopper for that. Maybe you can. If you want to, go ahead. Leave a comment in the chat if you blame Chopper. Very sneaky. Also, amazing around smokes, by the way, Queserado. And here's the other outstanding quality of Queserado for me. In the very high-action games that Furia play, I feel as though Yuri and Queserado handle that pressure of all the chaos better than anyone else on rifles. Like, you know, that same kind of heroic level where I talk about Stown. That's probably why I like these players, Stown and players like this. They can stay calm in these really crazy moments, and I feel like they figure out how to play better than their opponents when things are the most crazy. Coming out of the smoke here, and again, staying very calm, not wasting an extra bullet, taking down Magix. God damn it, Magisk. And another 1v2, and a clutch to bring this one back. And it's always so calm with Queserado. Again, very good at playing around smokes. When you watch these games from his enemy's POV, it looks like he's smoke blind all the time. It looks like he's swinging. He's barely swinging or can't see anything. Wow. That's brutal. Again, great spray. You guys know how I feel about Queserado's spray. He just knows how to find these little advantages. Like a magician knows where the edges of the cards are. I'd say that's a defining quality about Queserado as well. And that's a good lineup and some good damage, and it definitely results in a round one here. But I believe that Queserado and Yuri, sorry to finish my point, that they're every bit as good as Coldzera for from the SK Luminosity days. I just think it's a modern era with much stronger competition, and they can't keep up to that degree. And the team as a whole isn't as good. You know, Fallen was a better caller than Art is now. There are some things that are not exactly symmetrical, but I would say you strip the results away, you look at the player itself, you transport Queserado and Yuri back to the past and remove the information they have. I think they would be able to be as good as those two. That's kind of, I don't know if that is even possible to make an argument for, but that's just how I view it. I think that these guys, like, basically what I'm saying is they have the same genetics as Coldzera and Fur, okay? That's my argument. They're two of the best Brazilian players to ever come out of this region, and I think time will prove that, I guess, is my main argument. If it hasn't already for some. But of course, you know, stats, results, all that boring stuff people care about, that will matter. You want to win the arguments. But if you know, you know, huh? All right. Well, just got his name on every round. Kill feed is just red. Red for Queserado here. And again, Cat player never actually pushed off of Cat, interestingly enough. Been lurking inside of the window. Watching some of his macro rotations on Starcaller, he was playing Cat about half the time, but honestly, not even really playing Cat that often in this game. Started early round doing it. There can be stuff that's spawn-based. Not losing a single spray off the quarter of a smoke. I love Queserado. So what do you love about Queserado? Let me know in the comments below. Wow, I'm farming today. Wow, even the perfect grenade throws. What can't this man do? And he's sneaky. Firebox. Wow, right in time for the exec. With 4 players here. Spirit don't know what's about to hit him. Be careful about how high up you look with this silenced M4. I think people can see you jumping up on Tetris over the box. I'm speeding a bit here. when they take over connector control this late into a round and your teammate died on A, I think you feel really good about Firebox. There's definitely a world where CT takes a little info, Kserado walks out, gets a 2K. I don't know if the exec is still coming. Looks like they don't even need him. Okay, now Kserado is going to walk out a little bit. And will the 2K happen? Nobody denies the bomb, and it's too late to get it back. Kserado locks in 15. Finally, with the instant window smoke, and this that Molly for top boxes. Important lineup for the when the window is smoked, and he's actually wait, it sounded like it bounced off something. It might have, I don't know actually. He actually went with the nade, kept the Molly in hand. Let's see what he does with his utility this round. And again, so we're looking at different angles on resmoking con and how important it is to keep con smoked. And the other thing is that like you can't like juggle grenades the same way on Mirage. So like your con player can't just be left all of them. There's too much fluidity, I think, on CT side. I would imagine is why there's less of like the nade stacking and also too many vulnerable spots. It's very scary spot in front of connector because oh shoot. So this area right here is obviously really key because if there's a top con smoke that gets phased, Yuri will be the only one responsible for killing him. Sometimes it's going to be a Jai jumping up CT and watching off the corner of it, but then there's pressure to him from A-Ramp and Palace, and there has to be kind of this exchange of glances between Palace and connector and that player, so it's kind of hard sometimes for the CT player to help out in this area. So this spot's really important off the stairs. It obviously gives Safe the option to hold on to A-Ramp if Yuri can peek the stairs, and he can also keep it smoked. But every time Yuri has to cross, and this is a high-traffic location, Yuri has to go back and forth. He's going to exchange glances with the Palace player who could be opping and punish that cross. So it's really tenuous. You never feel safe, even if there's most of the time there's no one there. And it's not something you use utility for every single time you cross. So it's not unlike connector. You don't keep Palace smoked for the entire round. You pick your moments with Palace. But sometimes Yuri needs to be here to watch for the window lurk if Kserado ends up pulling guard. Sometimes Yuri needs to be on this side of the smoke. He needs to watch here. Sometimes he needs to play inside of connector. All of these places are being attacked from both underpass, from top mid, and from Palace at the same time. And so if you look at where his actual safe zone is with no nades, it's this. You know, it's almost nothing. Whereas if you look at the Cat player, for example, you're basically in the round almost at all times, even just playing here, playing up on this corner, and you don't even really need utility necessarily to play it. The window, you have the entire window. CT, you have all of CT. But your con player has this interesting spot where you have multiple targets, and I don't even take this fight to A-Ramp because that's what you do in Pugs, but you don't really do that in pro play, looking from stairs in a ramp unless, again, the situation presents itself. But you don't have any safe spots to stand. All of the nades on T side, they're mollying right side, left side. They're smoking top con. They're approaching from two sides, potentially three if they come up on Cat. So there's just I mean, this is a red hot zone. And that's why you'll see sometimes the Cat player smoking con for Yuri. The window player is smoking con. Oh, this flash works way too well right here. Flash assist comes out. And see, now Yuri peeks to the ramp because he's just loosened up the connector. Kserado takes his position. And we're looking at the last round of the game, I think. I don't want to call it too soon. And, yeah, that's it. They lock it up. That's an easy match one, and that's the 1-0. Looking very calm for Kserado. Incredible year, man. Incredible year. So many great things to say about it. The standout year of who I feel like is the best. He's the best new age Brazilian rifler. He's the guy who I think will continue to get better. We're watching him in his prime right now. He's holding an enormous torch for a region that has enormous representation. And right now in Brazil, there are a lot of great players on different teams, and there isn't really a focus on just a few. But it speaks to how healthy the scene is with the amount of orgs and stuff like that. So that makes it very interesting. But Furia are the most condensed of that, and Kserado is at the peak of Furia. So that's why Kserado is my number 10 player this year. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he's higher on HLTVs. I don't even know about him. I just think he's so insane, and he has the stats arguments and everything. And Rio was so spectacular, and just the big moments and the clutch moments and the lack of positional mistakes at all times just makes you wonder exactly what his potential would be if he was playing on some top 5 team, even though Furia are still doing a great job floating between like 5 and 15. So, all right, man. That's Quesarado, number 10. Who's number 9? Let me know in the comments below.